first heard the controversy over homosexuals in the Boy Scouts. I wanted to do what other scouts had done and send back my Eagle Award in protest. But that seemed like a terrible way to end what had otherwise been an incredibly positive part of my life. You see, when I was a kid, I was picked on. I was small and painfully nerdy. I remember one time when I was quite young, this kid, he walked up to me and he shoved my face into his knee and knocked out my front baby tooth. Fortunately, I had great parents and they enlisted me in Tiger Cubs. I loved it. I met other nerdy kids like me. We camped, sang songs, did crafts. And when I completed Cub Scouts, I joined Boy Scouts. After years of hard work, I earned the highest and most prestigious rank of Eagle Scout. To this day, it's one of my proudest achievements.
Hey everyone, welcome into Dom Time. Thanks for joining us tonight with Dom Giordano. That is the work of filmmaker and former Eagle Scout Todd Bieber. He'll be with us momentarily because tonight we're going to talk with two guests in studio and with Todd about big issues before the Boy Scouts of America. Come sometime in late May, it's believed, they'll be voting on how to deal with members, Eagle Scouts and others of that age that might be gay, gay Scout leaders that might be out, and autonomy for local units, local scouting units like the Cradle of Liberty. Todd Bieber, welcome to Philadelphia. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Todd, your film, does it basically, as we've seen in that clip, kind of trace your own personal story at this age? And did you have to deal with coming out and talking about leaving or not leaving the Scouts at that point?
No, and I think there's some confusion of whether I am a gay or straight man, and I don't talk about my sexual orientation in the video, but I'm engaged to a woman, so I'm just advocating for gay to be able to, gay Scout leaders to be able to, and Scouts to be able to be in the Scouts. So I didn't have to deal with it personally.
Okay. Now,
but I had, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Todd, do you take a position, so you're talking about both. There's been sort of a compromise, I think, and I think I have two guests in studio tonight, one from the right, one from the other side. It might be in opposition to where I think the Scouts have landed at a pretty good place as far as compromise here. They're trying to satisfy all people. They're not trying to out gay Scout members, and yet the concerns with gay Scout leaders are out there. So the compromise is let the kids like you that have come through there that may or may not be gay and come out, let them remain, but not the gay Scout leader.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's actually a compromise in my opinion. I think that's kind of a half measure, and I guess my question to that is I think that's great. I'm so happy that gay Scouts will be able to go through the program and be able to learn about leadership, work within the Scouts. I do question, it seems a little strange that once you turn 18, if you are an out member of the gay community, that you won't be welcome anymore. And I think that sends a little bit of a confusing message to young Scouts who may be gay, that you have to stay hidden in order to remain in the Scouts. And I think that's a little sad because I think it's such an important place, such a good place to learn. And, so I really love to see the Scouting make the measure to let openly gay people serve, whether they're young or old. So,
Todd, tell me, in the film, what would we see in the film? What is the milieu, the background in the film? What do you try to take us through?
So in the video that I made, I am a filmmaker, and the first movie that I ever made, I made with Boy Scouts. And so now I'm a professional filmmaker. I live in New York City. I get to work with people you see on television and films on a regular basis, and I feel really privileged to have that, and I would have never discovered that if it weren't for the Boy Scouts. And, when I was a young kid, I was picked on and kind of a nerd, and, I found like a sanctuary within the Boy Scouts, and I see a lot of young kids now being bullied because of being gay or whatever, and I feel like the Scouts can provide that place for kids to learn, experience, and get that, place where they can learn about what they want to do as adults and be good members of society. And so when I was asked if I would come back and be cinematography merit badge counselor, which is the merit badge I earned when I was younger, I said, yes, absolutely. I'd love to give back to this organization that has given me so much. And when I did it, I gave the cinematography merit badge, and then I also had a bunch of filmmakers come in, and some of them happened to be gay. And I think through the video you can see that, the kids had an absolutely wonderful time. They learned so much. They made their own video with the help of everything that they learned through this experience, and the video turned out stellar. I mean, the kids are such smart guys, and I think it is like a working study, or like an example of, this is a group of people who can contribute and who are good role models and can really help kids learn about the things that they want to learn about. And it's not about the video when they were in there, they didn't talk about how they were gay. They didn't talk about any of that. They just talked about filmmaking.
Well, Todd, thank you. Thanks very much. Good luck with the film, and we'll see how this develops. Thank you for joining us in Philadelphia tonight.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, Todd.
Take care.
Now, joining us in studio are two people that are going to talk about the policy and the impact of the policy. Someone that I've talked with on the air over the years, Mike Markavich, is the founder and director of Repent America. Michael, good to see you in person.
It's good to be here.
And with me here is Jay Lassiter. Jay is a board member of Guardian State Equality. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks.
What would you say, Michael? I know that you have the Bible with you here. Did you open up a particular passage when you heard Mr. Bieber talking?
Well, I had the passage open because I think it's important for us to understand that there is a history behind the Boy Scouts that's very important, and we can't leave that out of the discussion. I think it's important first that we need to define our terms, and when the term gay is used, people often use that to say that they identify or they have an orientation that's oriented to the same sex or they're sexually attracted to the same sex. But the issue is the behavior. It's not about someone who has a homosexual orientation. There's people that have a heterosexual orientation that also could be engaged in sinful behavior. So the issue is sinful behavior. In Romans chapter 1, the Bible talks about, and it's very clear, that for this cause God gave them up to vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature.
Okay, well, let me stop you and say, though, we're talking here about the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts are not a church. There's a religious underpinning. So, Jay, tell me, what don't you like? I want to start talking with both of you about what I see as a compromise, and I think both of you might disagree with me, where the Boy Scouts are trying to be well-meaning here, not go after anybody, not do anything else, but they're trying to satisfy every demand. Do you like the compromise?
I like compromise. America was built on compromise, and there are some compromises that we can live with and we can all sort of be equally satisfied or unsatisfied with. And I think that's what the Boy Scouts were trying to do. They were trying to make a very, for them, a very difficult change to comport with society's changing mores. And I realize that sometimes it's difficult to turn around a big bureaucracy right now. Their compromise was to allow, it looks as if they're going to allow gay scouts.
Definitely,
and they are going to continue the ban on gay scout leaders. That is not the compromise. If they were compromise-minded, and it seems that that's what they've struck, I would have rather them compromise in a different manner, and specifically, if they were going to take a half step, and that seems to be the path they've chosen, it might have been better to allow individual troops to decide for themselves, sort of like a states' rights kind of argument, because perhaps there are regions of the state which right now just aren't
Would you
ready.
be okay with that?
I think look, part of me wants the whole loaf. But I'm old enough to realize that sometimes that's just not the way progress happens.
All right, hold that thought, but one would bring callers in for you two guys too. So just to rephrase, what we're talking about tonight is not the age-old argument about the Scouts. There's been big news here, and Michael and Jay and I will talk about it with you about, is this a compromise that serves anybody well? Either Jay's proposal or what the Scouts may be doing or Michael's sense of what they're all about. It's all straight ahead on Dom Time. Sorry to cut you guys off. We needed